Welcome to Mind Shield. We protect the mind and pursue the truth. Let's get started.
Okay, let's dive right in. We're going to start with a story. It's the kind of thing that plays out at kitchen tables and in living rooms all over the world, usually in quiet desperation, far from anyone else's view.
And that one line, wow, it just perfectly captures that moment. A cry for help hits a brick wall of disbelief. It's not a real door, of course, but it's just as solid, and it's right at the heart of what we're talking about today.
Just picture it for a second. He's at his kitchen table, leaning in, trying so hard to find the right words for something that feels indescribable. He's trying to explain this invisible, terrifying thing that's happening to him to someone he really trusts. And then he starts laying out the details. Things that sound like coordinated destabilization, harassment that doesn't leave any bruises. To him, these aren't just random feelings. They're a pattern, a systematic attack on his life, his work, his sanity.
And this is it. This is that critical moment where the connection just snaps. It's not because the other person is mean or doesn't care. It's just a failure to process something so completely outside of their own reality that it feels impossible. The door closes.
So what just happened there? What did Marcus just go through? Well, this whole experience, this invisible door slamming shut, it has a name. It's what we call the empathy problem.
You know, it's almost like a defense mechanism. Our brains take this shortcut where we just confuse something that sounds bizarre with something that's untrue. We do it to keep our own world feeling stable and predictable. But the consequence? It's huge. We end up abandoning someone right when they need us the most.
In this slide, it really shows you what's happening inside our heads. We hear these really specific, terrifying claims on the left, but our brain's filter can instantly translate them into the dismissals you see on the right. What starts as healthy skepticism just curdles into abandonment. And that's the key right there. The answer isn't just to believe everything, no questions asked, but it's also not to just dismiss it out of hand. It's about creating a space for investigation, holding on to the possibility that something is really happening, even if we can't understand it yet. So why is this reaction so common? Why do we put up this wall of disbelief? It's not just a personal failing, you know? There are some really deep, systemic reasons that make us instinctively want to look away. Think about it. These kinds of claims, they face this uphill battle right from the start. They challenge our basic understanding of technology, of psychology. And because the experiences are so subjective, so internal, the system often just defaults to a psychological explanation before any real investigation even gets off the ground.
And hey, let's be fair. We have to think about the person on the other side of that table, too. Their fear is real. They're worried sick about their friend, they're terrified of saying the wrong thing, and they're scared of being dragged into a reality that feels completely chaotic. The problem is, that fear can accidentally become just another bar on the cage.
But here's the question we really need to be asking ourselves. Because if you take a step back and look at history, well, it's absolutely full of examples where today's crazy conspiracy theory became tomorrow's declassified fact.
I mean, just look at this timeline. You've got the Stasi's silent, soul-crushing psychological warfare, the decades-long secret microwave bombardment of a U.S. embassy, the unexplained life-altering brain injuries of diplomats. It goes all the way up to an entire nation, Chile, literally rewriting its constitution to protect the human mind from technology. The line of what's possible has moved over and over again.
Okay, so this all sounds pretty bleak, right? But this brings us to a possible way forward. A methodology that can actually give us a path through all the fear and the confusion. It's a framework called disciplined compassion.
It's a really clear four-step process, and it totally shifts how you approach this. Instead of starting with, do I believe you, you start with step 1, listen. I mean, really listen, without jumping to conclusions. Then, you move to stabilize their immediate situation. Are they safe right now? Next, you document everything, create a record, and only after all that do you get to the final step, verify what can be verified.
And I want to be super clear about this. This whole framework isn't about throwing out professional help. Not at all. It's about making sure that any help, whether it's medical, legal, or technical, is done carefully and with an open mind. It's about not slapping a label on the experience before a real investigation can even happen.
This part is absolutely foundational. Documentation is everything. It's how you turn a subjective experience into a pattern of objective data that someone can actually analyze. A vague feeling becomes a detailed log with times and dates. A weird sound becomes a time-stamped audio file. This dossier, this is what makes a real investigation possible.
All right, so what does this all boil down to for you? What can you actually do if one day you're the one sitting across the table from a Marcus and you see that desperation in their eyes?
You start right here, with calm, factual, and totally non-judgmental questions. Notice these questions don't ask, do you think this is real? They ask, what's the data? It's such a simple shift, but it opens the door to investigation instead of slamming it shut. It changes the focus from belief to evidence.
And really, that's what this all comes down to. The most powerful thing you can do isn't to have all the answers, because, let's be honest, nobody does. It's just having the courage to stay present, to listen with care, and to simply refuse to look away. That is the first and maybe the most important shield you can offer.